Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It was an okay episode, apart from some amazing scenes. It was okay. But before I get into my review, if you're new to this channel, hello and welcome. I summarize and review the latest Sensual Kapımı episode. Say what I like, what I didn't like, what I think might happen next. If you like these kinds of videos, like, comment, share, but most importantly, subscribe so we can meet on a weekly basis. As always, let's talk a little bit about the side storylines before we dive into the Eda and Serkan storyline. So first we have Balcha. She wasn't very present in this episode. We just saw her at the beginning of the episode when she was passed out, and then where she brought something to Serkan and he said that he knows that she just faked being passed out because Melek, Erdem and Leyla are trying to kind of tell Serkan because they suspected Balcha being behind this passing out, even though she wasn't. But it was kind of suspicious for her not to drink that punch, and everybody else who drank passed out except for her. So Serkan says he already knows that Balcha faked being passed out and she didn't really help, and therefore she gets fired. She's shocked, and that's a goodbye from Balcha because the official Sensual Kapımı Instagram site said that we have to say goodbye to Balcha, the grandma, and Fifi. I'm going to talk about that all at the end of my review. But yeah, then we have the grandma. So because of this incident, she changed. She kind of apologized to Eda, saying that everything she did for Eda, and she just wanted to build a relationship with her. After this incident, she won't interfere in her relationship with Serkan anymore. And then Eda invites her to the wedding as well, and she says she doesn't know, she has to think about it. But then tells Tahir that she has to prepare something for the holding to change completely. So I was like, she definitely will give her shares to Eda. And I'm right, because at the end of the episode, Eda gets a note from the old lady saying that everything she did for Eda, and she just wanted to have a relationship with her, to be her family, but she can't be at the wedding because she wasn't at her big events in the past either. But in her heart, she is there and she wishes them all the best, and she gives her share to Eda to be equal in this marriage. And I thought it was very nice of her. But as I said, with Balcha, I'm going to talk about my thoughts of her leaving and the way she left. I'm going to talk about that later. Then we have Erdem, who needs to give an envelope to Serkan, but he constantly forgets or leaves it somewhere, then gives it to Engin. Engin forgets about it, starts working on his stuff, and then when Ferit is in his office, Ferit opens it and sees that they had some money issues, or the transaction had some issues. So the last day they could explain themselves and fix the issue was actually Serkan's wedding day. So they go to the location, tell Serkan about this issue, and what happens next I'm going to talk about later in my review. But anyways, let's get back to Erdem. So he kind of invites himself to the bachelor party, and then when he got lost in the woods, I felt quite bad for him, and it was just so funny when he reappeared. Everybody was kind of making up at the bar, and then he appears and says, well, he's frozen, and he's really upset because he thought that somebody would come and rescue him, but he's frozen in here. And that's when Eda kind of forces Serkan to apologize to Erdem, and then he says that we all love you, we appreciate you, and we're all sorry. And then he's like, oh, you didn't have to apologize, blah blah blah, because then Fifi says we all love you, but Erdem only hears that she loves him, and then he wants to go to her to hug her because that's his way of accepting an apology, by hugging the person, and she just shoos him away. And then he goes to Serkan and he's like, don't hug me, I don't want to be hugged. But then Erdem goes in for a hug, and then Erdem also confesses that he got the sugar or sweetener from the assistant of the prince, and that's how everybody passed out. And Serkan gets really angry. Everybody is trying to hold him back, and then Erdem, trying to deflect this whole situation, he starts dancing, and then everybody is dancing. But what happened at the bachelor party I'm going to talk later about, but that's kind of everything that happened with Erdem. Then we have Ferit, Ceren, Engin and Pırıl. It wasn't very eventful. They had a fight because Engin and Ferit viewed marriage as a punishment kind of, and Ceren and Pırıl were really upset about it, especially about the fact that the guys didn't tell them that they had a trip planned. So they wanted to go to Germany for a finals game or something like that, and then after that to do like a 15-day bike tour around Europe or something. So they were really upset about this, but then they made up because Eda and Serkan made up, and that's it kind of with Ferit, Ceren, Engin and Pırıl. Then we have Aydan and Ayfer, and to sum it up, they had disagreements in the planning of the wedding because Ayfer wants it simple, Aydan wants it glamorous and kind of representing the Bolat family. And then Seyfi came up with the idea to invite Ayfer to kind of bond with her. So Aydan goes with Ayfer to a beauty studio where Ayfer gets her lips injected, and then they have huge disagreements on the decorations and everything. But then there is this tiny little moment between them where Aydan is like, well, how can a person who was brought up in wealth seek such a simple lifestyle, because she can't really understand it. So that's when Ayfer opens up because her childhood was so strict and everything had to go according to the grandma's plan, and her brother, so Eda's father, kind of broke this vicious circle and she followed him, and that's why she wants a simple life, blah blah blah. But you can really see that that's the moment where Aydan kind of felt for Ayfer, and I think that's also when their bond really got stronger. Yeah, and that's about it with their storyline, and I think we can move on to the Eda and Serkan storyline. So the episode starts with Eda being driven off in this black car. The guys appear in their cars. Serkan is looking for Eda. She's gone. Everybody is waking up, kind of. Everybody's worried what happened there. And what I thought was really confusing, like, how did Serkan know which car to follow? And how did he really get this close to the car? Because then they chase each other, and then the police appears and Serkan rescues Eda because while they were driving, Eda was waking up. Like, in my opinion, it wasn't done very well because they hyped it up so much and it was so dramatic and everything, and then for it to be resolved that quickly, I don't know if they wanted to just move on with this storyline. It was okay that he rescued her, but the way it happened and the speed, it was just like, it wasn't bad, but I didn't really like it either. Then we have Aydan, Ayfer, Serkan and Eda talking with each other, and Aydan and Ayfer asking Eda and Serkan when the wedding will happen, and then they say in 3 days. Then Aydan gets a wedding planner. The wedding planner is kind of torn between Aydan's views and Ayfer's views. Eda is also saying that she wants a very simple wedding, and that's when this whole Aydan-Ayfer disagreement happens. Then we see Eda going to Serkan office where he's very focused on work, not really listening to her. She comes up with the idea to kind of remodel their rooms in their house, and he just agrees to everything. Oh no, before that he says why should she do it, because Pırıl can do it, because he's only focused on building houses and buildings and not really remodeling rooms. And she's very upset by that statement, and then she kind of wants to get him also involved in the wedding planning, and he's so focused on work that he agrees to everything, and then she sees that he's not really paying attention. So when she says that the wedding cake is going to be a strawberry cake, he says, oh yeah, of course, no problem. So that's when you could really see the pain in her eyes and her being really upset. The moment when Ferit told Eda and Serkan about this trip the guys had planned, Eda is very surprised and says, of course you can go, no problem. But Serkan is signing to Ferit to stop talking because he will do everything for his wife. He just wants to make her happy, blah blah blah. But Ferit is so oblivious because he keeps making it worse and worse. It was just hilarious to watch. Then we have Serkan talking on the phone to Engin about a project, and he thinks he rushed it, but Eda is eavesdropping when he's talking about rushing it, and he doesn't want to tell Eda about it because he sees how happy she is, blah blah blah. As we know, he's talking about the project, but she understands it that he's talking about the wedding, and he kind of regrets getting married to her this quickly. So she's very upset, and the same thing happens to him. So this whole misunderstanding topic is huge in this episode, and it starts right then. So Eda is talking to her professor, asking him if she can postpone the project to the end of the semester, but Serkan only comes in and hears that it's for the rest of your life, blah blah blah, and she wants to postpone it. So again, misunderstanding happening. So he he's also upset that he sees her kind of second guessing the rush behind it, blah blah blah. So both of them are misunderstanding the same thing. So both of them are really upset, and when their wedding planner is showing them some plates, some decorations, whatever, Eda and Serkan are really preoccupied with this whole, oh my god, the other one wants to postpone the wedding, so what are we still doing here? The wedding planner senses that they're not really there with her and questions them if they're really ready to get married. Both of them say yes, but not really, not really meaning it, but still looking at the other person to see their reaction. I was like, oh my god, can we get over this misunderstanding topic, because it's just like so repetitive and so, I don't know, not boring, but like really. But anyways, Eda gets even more upset when she hears that Serkan is going to a bachelor party, and he says that he needs to detach from everything, that he wants to relax, and he means to relax from work and this project, but she thinks it's about the wedding, and she gets really upset that maybe she overworked him and pressured him too much with this marriage stuff. And she talks to the girls. Fifi comes up with the idea that they should also go, oh no, Jaran comes up with the idea to also go there, because Fifi is like, well, they're in the woods somewhere, girls are coming to them and blah blah blah. Melek is the only positive one and saying that she trusts everybody, but then Eda agrees for them to go there. When we see Ferit, Engin, Serkan and Erdem sitting there in the lobby, all of them except for Erdem are kind of sad, because all of them had a fight with their partner, and the girls are actually there, so they're eavesdropping what the guys are saying. The guys are calling the girls hang up. The guys are really upset because they think that they don't want to talk to them. So Erdem is like, oh, I'm going to call Fifi. So the girls are like, oh my god, Fifi, get rid of your phone. But somehow it lands between the guys. So when Erdem is actually FaceTiming Fifi's phone, Engin has it in his hand. So Erdem is really confused. How does Engin appear on his phone? So it was just hilarious to watch it unfold, and then the girls have to come and reveal themselves. The guys are really happy to see the girls also there, but the girls are still very upset with the guys and playing kind of hard to get. Then we see Eda being near a fireplace, Serkan joining her, then them talking about the wedding. Okay, so we're going to postpone the wedding to the summer, and she says yes. Both of them are not really happy with the outcome of this conversation and with the answers of the other person. So Eda is really upset, goes and tells the girls about this conversation and that they will postpone the wedding. The girls are really upset. Serkan gets also angry and upset, tells the guys about it because they're outside by the barbecue place, and then I don't really know how. I think the girls wanted to go for a walk in the woods and the guys didn't want to let them, so everybody leaves except for Serkan and Eda, and then they have this conversation, and that's the moment when they find out that they actually misunderstood the phone calls of the other persons. So they kind of make up, they kiss each other, they're all adorable, everybody comes back, they see that Serkan and Eda are back together and happy together, and then Eda is kind of flirting with Serkan and saying, well, she's freezing, and he's like, well, I'm going to warm you up. But she was thinking towards a naughty part, kind of, if that makes sense. But he was kind of oblivious, so she told him that the girls will have a PJ party, and he tells her that the guys will just play table football, and then he will come and have a romantic night with her. So that night the girls are in their PJs talking about everything. The guys are playing table football, but the manager of the hotel comes and asks them if they want to judge the beauty of the lake contest or something like that, because the judges are late and yeah, they need a jury. So Melek goes and spies on them, sees that they're judging those girls. She tells the girls about it. The girls get really angry and upset. They go to this contest, and that's what we see in the trailer. And it was just so hilarious when Serkan was trying to find an explanation why they're doing this, and then him being like, well, somebody has to take one for the team. Engin and Serkan are like, figured you have to do this because you wanted it, blah blah blah. It's not that serious with you and Jaran, but I'm going to get married. Engin is already married, so we can't do this. And it was just so hilarious. Serkan hiding behind the number things that he had in his hand and trying to explain the situation to the guys, and then Engin, what did you just say? It was just hilarious to watch it. And then the girls are like, okay, we're going to forgive you under one condition. So the guys have to do kind of a catwalk thing and they're rating them, and it was just really hilarious. Then we see everybody by the bar. Ingen is desperately trying to explain the situation and telling the girls the truth, and that's when they all make up, and that's when Erdem also appears. Then we see them all dancing together, having fun together. Then we see Serkan getting a massage. Eda appears, takes over the massage. He recognizes her kind of, or is shocked that somebody else is touching him, and then she's like, nobody else can touch you except for me. And then what I already predicted in my last review happened in this review. We only saw like 2 or 3 scenes for a couple of seconds more than what we got to see in the trailer, and I was like, this was so predictable and I'm so upset. And once again, it gets to our collection, because what do we see? Eda giving a Serkan a massage. Then we see Serkan in the bath where she takes off the robe, what we already saw in the trailer. Then we get a new scene where both of them are in the bathtub enjoying themselves, surrounded by bubbles, but nothing really happens there. Then we see them in the shower. Everything is fogged up, just what we saw in the trailer, and that's it. And I was like, really? So we got only the bathtub scene where they're both in it and the massage scene, and that's it. And I was like, why am I even bothering anymore with this? Because it upsets me, it frustrates me really. But yeah. Oh yeah, then there's also Aydan having a nightmare where Serkan is telling her that he gave Eda all the shares of the holding, and the grandma will move into the house where Aydan is living, and Ada will move in with the horses. So yeah, that was also there. I don't know why, but okay. Then we see the girls trying on wedding dresses, Serkan being at the tailor, then also the girls going to the hammam. And there was this really emotional scene, and I thought it was just so adorable when Eda really saw that Aydan is not really having it with this tradition. She's not really a fan of it, but they said that it's tradition for the daughter-in-law to shower or wash the mother-in-law. That's when Eda opened up to Aydan and said, thank you for being here, even though you're not really a fan of this tradition. Even I'm not really, but thank you for being here and sharing this moment with me. And she was asking Aydan to trust her because Serkan means everything to her, and Aydan said, I really want to trust you, but I'm his mother. So she's still having a hard time to trust Eda fully, but I do think that she trusts Eda 90%. And then Eda tells her that she wants to turn to a new page, a new chapter in her life. Up until now she only had her friends, so the girls and Ayfer as her family, but now marrying Serkan, she gets a new family. And then Aydan is like, when you marry Serkan, you become my daughter as well. And I was like, God, I was almost crying because it was so emotional. Even Ayfer was crying in the background. And Aydan said to Eda, you can call me, like she was hinting for her to call her mom. She knows that it's quite hard for Eda to do so, and she says, whenever you're ready, you can call me that. And I thought it was just so amazing. And then Aydan is kind of being like, okay, we're being way too emotional, let's dance. Then we see the chat between mother and son, and Ayfer and Eda being really emotional. Are you sure about this? What am I going to do about this whole situation? You will move out, you will start a new family, like being really emotional. Then we see all the girls getting ready for the wedding, and Serkan, because he got the news from Ferit and Engin, wants to see Eda and explain the situation to her. Everybody is kind of stopping him, but he's like, it's urgent. So he goes to see her standing in front of the mirror, and that scene really reminded me of their engagement. He compliments her, he tells her that he loves her, but he has to say something. There's this business. She gets really frustrated and upset, tells her that he only needs to be gone for a couple of hours, so please postpone this wedding for a couple of hours. By 7 o'clock I will be back. Just close your eyes, and when you open them again, I will be here, and I love you, and nobody can get me away from you. And I was like, okay, like this is way too much. Too many confessions, too many I love yous, too many I won't give up on you, nobody can get between us, blah blah blah. this was too much. Not as in too much that I didn't like it. It was too much for it to be true. Because I knew, okay, something will happen for sure. Because why on earth would you say that? I mean, he didn't know at that time, but still, it was kind of foreshadowing something for me. So I was like, something is going to happen. Either the plane crashes or he won't make it in time. She gets really upset. Like, something has to happen. So the girls are trying to get her mind of it. So when the time comes, she dresses in this beautiful wedding gown. Then she gets the note from the grandmother. Ayfer also gives her a necklace from her mother. Says that she would have loved to see her like that. So not the grandmother, but Eda's mother. And also Aydan giving Eda a ring from her mother. And then Ceren gets a call from Ferit, and you could already see her being like, wait, what happened? So everybody's like, what happened? She says, turn on the news. And then the news reporter said that nobody could get in touch with Serkan Bolat in the last 2 hours, and they speculate that the plane crashed. Then Eda has all those flashbacks of him confessing his love to her by the mirror. She's having a panic attack, kind of almost fainting. Aydan is of course shocked, and that's the end. Thank God we got a trailer. In that trailer we see Aydan and Eda being positive that Eda will finally come back to them, because Ayfer is like, well, are you sure about that? And then we see Eda dreaming that Serkan comes to her room, and she's like, where have you been? And he's like, the nightmare is over, but then he disappears, and that's the end of the trailer. And I was like, oh my god, this ending really gave me 50 Shades vibes. So the plane crashing, him reappearing, but we already know that the grandma, Fifi and Balca said goodbye to the series. And I have to say, they hyped up the grandma that much that her departure, it was okay because she gave her shares to Eda, but I expected more of her, to be honest. Then we also didn't really get an end to this whole Prince storyline, so I'm not sure if he will come back, because we didn't really see a goodbye on the official Central Kapımı Instagram site. So maybe he will be back, because we still don't know what's up with Esma. Like, why would you bring up this whole mystery if you're not really telling us something about it? The same goes for Fifi. She was so mysterious, but we still don't know anything about her. What is she doing? Who is she really? Like, why is she leaving in the first place? And then Balca, I thought she would fight more, and just because she got fired, she's gone from the series. Like, okay, this was also quite hyped up. Oh my god, she's obsessed with S&B and it's Serkan Bolat. So why are you doing this? And then I also read that the guy who played, oh my god, the doctor in Bayanlış, I'm sorry, I think it was Serdar or something like that. He will play a childhood friend of Eda's and is trying to make a move on her because he still loves her, but he didn't want to ruin their relationship. So there's this new guy coming, and I don't know, like, this is so confusing, and in my opinion it's kind of being dragged along. And then I was thinking, so Serkan is gone, maybe he had an accident, maybe he will lose his memory, then all of a sudden Celine is also there, so he gets back together with Celine because he lost his memory of Eda and thinks that he's still together with Celine, because we didn't get a goodbye from the actress of Celine. So there's this possibility of her coming back, and then when he comes back with Celine, everybody's confused. Eda is really upset. That will kind of make her run to her old childhood friend. They get closer. Maybe that's when Serkan starts to have these jealousy feelings, because he doesn't know that he's in love with her, but because of these feelings, blah blah blah. Then he finally regains his memory and they're back together, and this new guy has to say goodbye to everybody. Like, and also, what about Tahir and Melek? Like, he was interested in Melek and nothing really happened. Like, there's so many loose ends, and I'm like, why are you doing this? Why do you bring in characters, hype them up so much, give them quite a good backstory and reason for them to be there, but then erase them from one episode to the other without really a reason or without really concluding their story? Like, I don't know. I'm really frustrated and I'm sorry if I might seem harsh. It's not my intention, it's just my opinion. All in all, it was an okay episode. We got some quite amazing and emotional scenes, like the hammam scene where Eda and Aydan kind of bonded. Also Aydan and Ayfer bonding and Ayfer opening up to Aydan. Some really funny scenes between the guys. So there were a couple of scenes that I really enjoyed, but all in all, it wasn't really there for me to say it was an amazing episode. It was okay. It was a decent episode. Maybe it was a transitional episode. We will see what will happen next. But yeah, I hope I didn't sound too harsh. I hope I mentioned everything. I hope I said everything. And I hope you still enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this episode. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Ring that bell to be notified whenever I post something. And I will see you next time. Bye!